All right, this is John with Madcap Music Review. We're here with legendary producer and musician Ronnie King. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling good.
Good. Thanks for having me on your interview show.
Thanks for having us.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Good.
So, you've got a pretty rich background musically with your family. I always like to see where it all started, and I know your grandfather was Dust Bowl era, right?
Yeah. On my dad's side, yeah, they came through the Dust Bowl era with. It's funny, they would pick cotton in the day and then on the weekends play the Friday and Saturday night barn dances for what they call they call them refugees, which was interesting.
Right.
And they have some amazing just stories about, they really were sequestered in these refugee camps, and the city guys would come in and they'd get in their little brawls and then they would go out into the city, and it was just a really interesting time. But, my dad's family, they had 10 children.
Oh, wow.
So my grandfather put instruments in everybody's hands, and they started playing music then. And my grandfather was a songwriter, Ronnie King, and he has some songs in the Library of Congress for that particular time. And I think that's how I kind of really got the songwriting bug, because he was doing early music publishing and kind of doing his own thing. And there was a guy at that time, Woody Guthrie.
Oh, yeah. This land is your land. The birth of folk music, really.
Yeah, it was that Dust Bowl kind of music, and he sort of sounded like a Roger Miller, who was another big artist at that time. And so I got to, my grandfather lived to be 100 years old, and so all the family, lived while I was growing up. So I really did have a good experience with songwriting with them. And then on my mom's side, my grandfather played with Harry James for years until he had kids, and then that was kind of the end of his career. And then I'm from a family of 7, and they're all musicians as well. I'm the only one in the record business, per se. My brother's an entertainer down in the Palm Springs area. I call him like the Don Ho of Hawaii. You know what I mean? It's like when you go to Palm Springs,
That's the guy to see.
You see John Stat. I mean, and then he does this convention business, which is really interesting because all the big convention companies go there, and he's always going to have one big show, for usually everybody there when you go to Palm Springs. So that's where I have my ranch and my ranch studio and stuff, and it's going really well. I bring my artists from Hollywood and from Orange County there.
Kind of a little retreat.
And they have a retreat, and they can kind of just, turn the phones off and, really make some great music. I've had Pepper out there at the ranch, Corten, who's one of my favorite bands right now. I mean, I'm just so excited working with them. There's a lot of great things happening with them. And so it's the ranch works out really good, and then come back to Orange County and Hollywood to kind of find the art again, and then keep producing and keep writing,
Aside from your immediate family, was there a particular artist or album that just kind of bit you when you were growing up, and you were just like, that's it, that's what I want to do?
For me, it's kind of weird and kind of interesting, but I liked Barry Manilow.
Oh, yeah? Copacabana?
Well, he was a piano player, and I played the piano, and I was kind of like a choir guy, Most musicians are kind of geeky guys growing up, and they just play music just to kind of get out of their own element and stuff.
Sure.
And I saw the movie, the F Word, that Jim Lindbergh from Pennywise just put out, and what he did is he got punk rock dads, basically, and it had Flea in it, it had Rick Thorne, Randy Bradbury in there, it had Jack Grisham, my old partner from the Epitaph days, and they just talked about, their feelings of going on the road and how difficult that is when you do have kids. And
sure.
It was a really interesting movie. But what was the question?
Oh, was that original? Was there like a specific album or artist? You know, the
Yeah.
bitch, and you said Barry Manilow.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was kind of like the first guy. I thought, wow, that'd be kind of fun to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came out to Orange County, I went on tour with a kid named Timmy T. He had a #1 song in the country, and they hired me to play the keyboards with him. And we would go around and do all this touring, and that's where I kind of got the tour bug, you know. And then I got signed to a major management company with Jerry Heller, who owned Ruthless Records.
Yeah, NWA.
NWA, And then from then on, it just kind of, that's how I kind of got into the rap business and had the security in that business too, you know. That was kind of a pivotal time, in not only in music, but in my career too. Because I kind of found a place for myself, you know. There weren't a lot of keyboard players that could actually play the keyboards, and at that time 2-inch was still the medium, not the computer and stuff, so you really had to, I think, play better than a lot of what we need to do now, you know.
Right.
Technology, for sure.
And during that time too, I'd imagine paying for the samples was getting kind of pricey, so getting a studio musician in there was probably...
That was my job. What
right.
I would do is I would literally go in there, replay the sample, you know what I mean? And they would pay me a phenomenal fee to do that, and then they wouldn't have to pay the original sample situation.
You wouldn't have to go through all the legal hassles and whatnot.
Exactly.
Sure.
So that was kind of like my job, and I did that for Ruthless. I did that for Death Row for, God, I don't know, 6 years too as well.
And at the same time, you were doing a lot in the punk scene too, with Rancid, Offspring.
At the same time, about 96, I got signed to Epitaph Records with Jack Grisham and Ron Emery from TSOL. And we scored ourselves a 5-year record deal with Brett Gurewitz.
The Party Kills, right?
Huh?
Was it the Party Kills?
It was called the Joy Killer.
Joy Kills, sorry, that's right.
Yeah, Joy Killer, and we had Billy Persons from the Gun Club, and like I say, Ron Emery. And so it was basically half of TSOL and then some other punk rock bands. And at that time, you know, that was another resurgence of punk rock music. And at the time, we always used to hear that, oh, Epitaph bands just kind of, they sell out. You know, you guys aren't real punks. And, you know, because we were all making money at the time, you know.
Right.
So it's like the kids, it was an interesting time with the kids, but I think, you know, as it was happening, and there weren't a lot of keyboards in punk rock at that time, too.
Right.
So I always like to kind of tell the funny tour stories, like in the smaller clubs when I was touring with the Joy Killer. I mean, we would play just, you know, we'd play the Doll Hut, and then we would go on tour with the Offspring and open up for them, but, you know, in those smaller shows, I mean, the kids would just spit on me and throw beer on me. They were like, keyboards. I mean, come on, dude. There's no, punk rock's not, you know, keyboards. But I flipped, you know, kind of my sound and put some fuzz things on it and kind of had this weird keyboard stand where it kind of moved around.
Right.
And, you know, so it was kind of a...
Punked it up a little bit.
I had to punk it up a little bit. And really hardcore rap at that time and the punk scene at the time were really... People go, well, how could you go from both sides? And I said, well, they were kind of different sides of the same coin, you know. The rap situation is rejects in a way, or, you know what I mean, just, it wasn't pop music or whatever.
It wasn't mainstream at all.
Yeah, it wasn't mainstream until it became mainstream.
Right.
And then the punk rock, of course, was kind of the same kind of thing, too, so... I was just always kind of, and when I wasn't touring, I'd be at the studio, and then, you know, I like to tell the story. My days consisted of, you know, making records with the Offspring and various other punk rock bands, and then, you know, show up at Death Row at 9 o'clock when those guys all kind of woke up, and we'd go till 5 or 6 in the morning, and
man.
Yeah, and then, you know, kind of with Pac, it was kind of great, because he was so fast as a writer, so... We would make a song, like, say, for 30 minutes, you know, and then he would go in, rap his stuff, and we'd probably do 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 songs a night, really.
Yeah, he was known as a notorious workaholic.
Oh, he was fantastic. And it really did up everybody's level, you know, and I still use that same work ethic, and I try to, you know, bring that to all the younger groups that I work with, that, you know, they want what they want, but there's a lot of work that goes into making great music. And,
sure.
And we're getting some, you know, there's becoming some good music out there, you know, definitely. Especially around here in the Orange County scene.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I get to work with basically everybody.
Well, you coined the term, what was it, punks and thugs, right?
Punks and thugs, yeah. I'm actually working on a project now with Big Psych from Thug Life and Ron Welty, the original drummer from The Offspring. And we're kind of bringing that punks and thugs thing back together. We're in the studio right now working on that. We have Sean Smash from Total Chaos is playing the guitar. And so we're just writing music and trying to create a new sort of a sound.
Well, the genres have always made sense together because, I mean, they're both speaking out politically. You know, punk's about the government, you know, more or less, and then, you know, with a lot of the rap, with what's going on in the local community.
Yeah.
You can even go back to Marvin Gaye, you know, Inner City Blues. I mean, he was just telling it like it is.
Yeah.
You put on Straight Outta Compton, the first thing you hear, you're now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And even the punkers are real street, too, you know? Mm-hmm. I know now in Orange County, you know, there's a lot of this, you know, reggae coming through and stuff.
A lot of big bands, Seedless, Simkin Project, a lot of reggae coming out of Orange County.
Yeah, and I just finished 13 songs with Pepper. I'm on their new record.
Okay.
And that's coming out, I think, pretty soon, too, like in the next month or two. So that'll be kind of a fun record. They had Matt Wallace, the producer from Maroon 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who produced it, and it sounds really good. And I'm really happy for the Pepper record because it, for one, it has a lot of keyboards in it, you know, which is kind of fun. And then, you know, they're upping their level, too. You know, it's just not, hey, let's have some dirty hot sex with me type of, you know, fun beer drinking type of music, to where they're really making some quality music, you know. And I think a lot of the groups and all of us are really trying to, you know, get back and make some quality music again, you know. It's time for it. We know that.
Absolutely.
You know, definitely.
I mean, you did Damages album. Mike Neufeld had so many great things to say about you.
Oh, no, you know Mike.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, like,
okay.
took time out of your busy schedule and, you know, just did that album with him, and thought that was so cool.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you know Mike Neufeld. Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike? I actually may see him for the first time in years.
Stop by the gas lamp?
This next weekend. Oh, is that what he calls? He has a club now.
Yeah, in Long Beach.
Yeah, an old friend of mine who used to play drums in TSOL, actually, Jay O'Brien's getting married, and his reception is right behind the club at the Yacht Club or something.
Oh, okay.
And so we're going to pop over and go see Neufeld.
Oh, very cool. Yeah.
Well, good. You know, and Mike, I thought, was not only, you know, I mean, his band was really neat, but, you know, they were a sort of a little ahead of their time in a way, too, you know. They were really blending a lot of really neat rock and roll. That was just...
They had a cool 90s vibe to them, I thought, on that first album. That you could hear.
we had a great time with that record. And I think they, you know, got nominated for some good Orange County Music Awards.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they did really great. You know, at that time was the Reverb Nation charts and all that stuff was really, you know, it was really validated, you know, with the new technology, you know, with computers and stuff. And Mike did really well with that record. That was a good time. We had a ball with that record.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. Mike's a fantastic guy.
Yeah, he's good people.
Guy. Okay, so you know him from the Long Beach.
Yeah, Long Beach area. That's where I'm from, Long Beach.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah. Raz One, I'm supposed to start with his record at some point too, from Long Beach Dub All Stars.
Oh, okay.
He's a Long Beach boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to be starting up with Quartet. You did their EP, and now they're going to be working in your studio, right?
Yeah, we're back in the studio with Core 10 coming up really soon. They've got a slew of new songs from the EP that we did for them. I mean, I don't think they were a band for maybe 5 years. And then Sean Lindhoff got me involved with producing the band. And we did a pretty good little record, and they've had a lot of new success as well.
Yeah, they sound good live.
They
sound really good.
I got to play with them a couple weeks ago at the observatory, and they're so fun on stage. I mean, their energy.
Oh yeah, bouncing all around.
They are, and they have just such a sound that is just it's really refreshing for right now.
It's nice to see that twin guitar attack, kind of reminiscent of the new wave of British heavy metal bands.
Duncan doing his, heavy-handed, expression of himself, and then with Sean singing all the beautiful melodies and stuff. It's really a neat thing. We're going to also bring in on this record Darian Rundle, who produced Dawkins' last record. He's a engineer I've worked with for a long time with a lot of Pennywise records and stuff. So we're going to bring him in with us this time. So that's going to be really fun for me, so I don't have to engineer as much, and I can just really concentrate on the production,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's neat. I mean, you've worked with names as huge as Mariah Carey and Tupac, and then, great local bands like Cortan, Damage, and you really represent that entrepreneurial spirit,
Yeah, kind of a Renaissance guy in a way. I mean,
living your passion, not afraid to take risks, you know? And that's kind of what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, about 4 years ago, I finished a tour with The Offspring. We were out for like 3 years together, and after, they were like, hey, we're not going to tour for a minute, we're going to go make a new record and stuff, and I thought that would be a great opportunity for me to kind of go back to the streets again and just see what was going on. And I had talked to Sean, and Sean hooked me up with Solon clothing line, and they were really interested. They had a lot of bands that they were sponsoring. And so I kind of went in there sort of as a musical sponsor. And I said, hey, and not a lot of those bands have a lot of money or anything like that. So it was really fun to just take them to the studio and kind of just give them a platform, And since then, we've started a Solon Music record company. And we've put out one compilation record where we had all the Solon bands that they sponsor, but then we had Be Real had a couple songs with us on that. There was a couple other artists that were on there. I'm kind of forgetting, but I remembered the Be Real stuff was really good. So now, now they have a business, a record business here in Orange County, where there's another record company coming up.
That's cool.
To keep creating this music and having a distribution outlet for it,
Sure.
Because after the music's done, you got to have a distribution outlet to get the music out where it's supposed to be and be visible,
Is that tough these days with the, with the computer age? Growing up when we grew up, record stores. It's all about having the vinyl and the liner notes and everything, and now kids just feel like they're entitled to have everything free.
Well, so you had to go to the store to get it, so you really wanted to buy the record you wanted to buy. Now, I mean, I know it's like with me, I get inundated with a lot of new material, a lot, and when you don't respond, to the music, because there's just so much out there,
Sure.
that there is a little entitlement issue with the bands that feel like, hey, what do you mean? I've got, 100,000 hits on my YouTube videos, and that's supposed to mean that I have a career in the music business.
Right.
And that's not the case. That's just, that's a PR thing. That's like back when we used to make videos. Man, at Epitaph, we used to spend like $150,000 on making a video, but you had to pay to get it on the networks.
Right.
And it wasn't like the video made you money. You know what I mean?
No,
It was
you're
a promotional
you're paying to get your name out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the way. Same. I mean, all the internet stuff. I really feel like that's what it is. It's a promotional tool, and thank God that bands can do that themselves. I mean, we used to, our PR guys used to cost, thousands of dollars a month, to get our music out there. And it's a lot different now. We're just in a real quick, saturated business. That's why most bands are playing live, because that's where the real money is.
That's what all the bands I talk to, they say gigging and merch. That's where they're making all their dough.
Gigging and merch, yeah. And if you're like a band like The Offspring, you're playing for 10,000 kids a night, so you're not only getting your ticket price, but you're also getting your merch,
Right.
and going through a lot of it, And even the smaller bands, I mean, if you make some cool hats and make stuff that people want to wear, and
yeah, you're repping your local band,
and you're rapping, and kids always like fashion of some
sure,
sort.
Sure.
So that's the music business. Sort of is the same, I've been going to Central America a lot, where it's and South America, where the music business is sort of like the way it was in Elvis's day, where you go, you make a single record, you go right to the radio station, you say, hey, I want you to play the thing, and if they like you, and you're, animated enough, and you want to be a part of their team and stuff, they'll play you right there, and then you can start up some really cool campaigns with them. So it's pretty exciting, and they love American music,
Do they?
So, yeah, and I've been lucky to go down there and not only tour a lot, but produce some really cool records down in Buenos Aires and Caracas, Venezuela.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're all over you gotta be a tired man.
Well,
I would imagine.
I'm tired of, last night was just an awesome night. The boys left, and I ended up making a record with a really neat reggae artist, Deli McGregor from Belize. And he's kind of from the reggae scene down in the Laguna Beach area, like where Common Sense kind of came out of, and Rebel Rockers, and this is like a whole scene that was started down there, and he was a part of that, and he's a 50-year-old guy, but he's still really relevant, and that's the thing that the computer age has done, is you don't have to be a young buck anymore,
right?
To have a fan base. I mean, there's 50-year-old people that are going to go out and actually buy the record, and they're not going to bootleg it, and they're not going to do all the things that, the little hacker kids can do,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so anyways, I mean, that's, the business is kind of the same. I'm really happy with it. I think it thinned out a lot of stuff, too.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of artistry off the table that was just a financed kind of thing, because now people don't finance bands as much. So you have to really be good. You have to really have a voice and have something to say,
Absolutely. Back in the day, you could go platinum in 2 days. Now, if you sell 200,000 copies in a year, that's considered amazing.
Man, and when you got...
Crazy.
Man, I mean, the one... I did a record with Snoop, Paid to Be the Boss, and like you say, in like 2 weeks, it was already up to 1 million records,
Yeah.
But the last record he did sold like, 25,000 in a week, It's like...
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is. But it's neat too, because you have to really work your fans.
Almost reinvent yourself and just
you have to
kind of
really
stay
work,
on it.
yeah, and you have to really work the business and make sure that you have the real core fan, and they're still out there. The core fans are out there. They'll follow you to the end of the earth.
Absolutely. Iron Maiden's a great testament to that.
Hey, exactly. And I've been seeing that with our core 10, is the fact that, they have a really core audience right now. And it's just...
They do.
I think it's great for Orange County. We just had the Orange County Music Awards, and they were nominated for Best Metal Band, and that was kind of interesting for me, that whole award show.
We were there for that. They stuck out. All these people are coming by, and then Core 10 was like there's metal in Orange County? What?
I know.
I was like, where did
right?
that come from?
And I saw like country artists. And
Yeah.
all this stuff. And
Justin Bieber types. I mean, everything.
I had no idea all
Right?
this stuff was happening. And that was kind of funny because at the end of the night, I was like, wow, I was really up for like 4 awards that night. And I didn't even really know it. You know? The Offspring was up for Best Rock Record, and then Cortin was up
Micah Brown.
And then Micah Brown.
He won, actually, I think.
He actually won, yeah. He's a great artist. I love working with him.
Yeah, he's a mellow guy.
Too. Yeah, I mean, it was really fun. And I'm going to do some more with him very soon.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having us out. People that want to check you out, follow you, see what you're doing, what's a good place to find you online?
The best kind of with me is kind of interesting. I do have, the website, RonnieKingMusic.com, and of course the Facebook is there. But I always get a kick out of Googling. I go in there sometimes and I just Google my name just to kind of
see where you're popping up.
Oh my God. And there's just like, last year, I thought the Offspring record was the only record that I had done on a major label, and there was like 3 or 4 records that came out last year. You know what I mean? That I was affiliated with, and it's kind of neat to kind of still be in a scene. You know, we have the new Pepper record that I'm on is coming out soon. I'm really excited about that record. That's going to be
those guys are cool.
Fun. Yeah, and then I'm working at 17th Street Studio with Louis Richards on a lot of projects as well, so that's fun. And then, just doing I have a beautiful charity. I deal with the Native American Indians down in the desert. And
oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's really neat.
What's that all about?
That is all about, I bought a ranch out in Thermal, and I'm in between this Torres Martinez tribe, and my wife's brother was working for the tribe at the time and said, you got to go meet these Christian pastors actually. And I met with them, and they said, hey, man, there's such a need for, music in the tribe. There's such a need for mentoring, young kids and teenagers, And so I get to work with a lot of teenagers that are kind of like trying to find their way, not only in music, but just as, some of it's parental too, because a lot of them, their parents are divorced or something like that, But that's been awesome, and I can't wait for the Central America and South America thing too. We're gonna try to do some more philanthropy out there and charity work, even within that, because I think we really are kind of a global community,
Absolutely.
And we're all should be watchdogs for each other,
Most definitely.
So I'm gonna take them all this great Orange County music, and I'm gonna bring a bunch of their music down here, and just try to
bring it all together.
Try to be the international mail,
the liaison of music.
Yeah.
Right on.
Good deal.
Right on. Well, thank you, Ronnie.
Okay, bro. I appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it too.
Appreciate it.
Right on. Ronnie King.